Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome to Wildcast Studios for another episode of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice of all things Moncton Wildcats, presented by Alpha's Appliance Solutions. Right now till February 28th, they got the Kitchen Suite Savings Event. Save $150 when you purchase two, $300 when you purchase any three qualifying Maytag or Whirlpool kitchen appliances. As always, fan listeners, I am your host Adam Lund, and I am joined by your favorite co-hoster and someone less sweaty than Usher after 3 songs, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. How are you?
Doing well, Adam.
Yeah.
Obviously, today is a very special day for some people out there.
It is, yep.
Happy Valentine's Day to you and to all of our listeners.
Absolutely happy Valentine's Day to you,
And
sir.
for those who do not celebrate, happy Singles Awareness Day.
Yes.
As I believe some people like to refer to. You know what?
I actually saw a meme on Monday that was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And it was Michael Scott just kind of laughing, and it was like, "Oh, what are you doing on Valentine's Day?" Well, going to work. It's a Wednesday, so
It's true. It's true. But no, it's we didn't get a chance to decorate.
No,
But that doesn't mean we don't celebrate.
no, absolutely.
And you know what? It's always nice to be part of this podcast. You know,
yeah,
it's always a very loving atmosphere when we get together.
They are testing
You
us.
know,
They are testing our love.
I belong with you, and you belong with me.
That is, is that Taylor Swift? So speaking of Taylor Swift, you shocked everyone by going with the 49ers for said football game, and
I was the anti-hero
you were.
to all the Swifties out there.
Which I don't know if you saw. We got some comments about on our YouTube about Julius Sumpf picking not being a Swiftie.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he have to do? Oh, it can't be a Chiefs fan without being. I'm just like, calm down. This kid has no future. I'm like, calm down, lady.
And then obviously Ryan Hackett.
Yeah, Ryan
was
Hackett.
the one, can't bet against Mahomes.
No, pretty much.
And it's true, you can't bet against Mahomes. And for the 49ers, it's going to be a cruel summer.
That's what we're doing. All right, cool. Yeah, thoughts on the Super Bowl?
For the 2 quarters, that it was actually somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
I was, believe it or not, my wife actually stayed up to watch a football game.
Wow.
And you can probably guess why she stayed up to watch a football game.
Probably the same reason my daughter probably watched the football game.
Yeah. It was nice to see that the what was the thing, I forget about it. It was like a little girl on TikTok. She said something about how Taylor Swift's boyfriend showed up to play a football game during a Usher concert. It's pretty much what it was like at my household. Just snacked on some food, enjoyed the game, and outcome was much more low scoring than I thought it would be. I thought maybe we'd probably have a team hit at least 30 points, but we didn't get that. But you know what, the defenses were on fire, and defense wins championships.
Yeah, I don't often bet. I'd ask a few of our friends what the best place to bet games on, and I went, all right, well, I'll go favorite or score 31-26 for the Chiefs. I'll go 31-24, whatever I picked for the actual score for the 49ers. And about midway through the second quarter, I went, those aren't hitting. But yeah, it was pretty boring football game. It was almost Rams Patriots from a few years ago until the second half and kind of midway through the quarter. And I feel bad for the 49ers fans. Like to get all the way. I personally don't know what it's like to lose in a Super Bowl. The Bucs are 2-0, but I can't think of a worse way than 9 seconds left in overtime. And they go all the way down. Score, I thought the 49ers were going to take it, and that missed field goal come out big because they're able to go down and tie it, and then obviously get it in overtime. But who really cares about the game? We're here for the Usher concert.
That's right.
Both of us are wrong, so we have to shout out my wife for going with Caught Up, and she picked it, and I sent it to you, time-stamped Monday at 6 o'clock before the Super Bowl. She went Caught Up, We both got our songs in there. And we saw Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
We saw some Ludacris, some Lil Jon. I guess just your overall thoughts on the Super Bowl halftime show.
I honestly thought it was underwhelming. I was not a fan of it at all. I thought, the Ludacris appearance was great. I was not expecting that. I was expecting Justin Bieber because there was a lot of rumors out there that Justin Bieber was in town. He was at the Super Bowl, but did make an appearance at the halftime show, which is kind of a little bit of a it was shock. That's one person I was looking forward to seeing and didn't get it, but we got 54 seconds in total of Taylor Swift and that
for the whole game.
For the whole game,
seconds?
Yeah.
I said after the first quarter, I'm like, I don't think we saw her at all in the first quarter. Really pumped that we got to see a lot of Blake Lively. Big Blake Lively fan. Just gonna put that out there, but I feel like that's the problem with the halftime show now. Is everyone is expecting those big collabs and all these things, and it's like you go back to last year in LA, and obviously the hip hop that was just massive.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough to top. But I think everybody was just thinking, oh, he's going to have this guest or this guest, or this, and it's just like you just got to take it for what it is. There's a lot of work that goes into it. They got, I think, 18 minutes or something. He was given the most minutes out of a lot of people. It took 8 minutes to set that whole thing up, 5 minutes to take it all down, which is pretty crazy in general. But I gave it a 7.5. It's just like the football game. It started off slow. I was kind of like, meh, this is clearly for the ladies, and then it picked up. And Lil Jon, did you see the lady that fell off the pole?
No.
If you go watch when Ludacris comes up and you see the girls on the stripper poles,
yeah.
If you go watch right when they face him, like just near the end, the lady on the left just goes whoop, and she just falls down the pole. And then when they had Lil Jon, there was when everyone was like, bouncing, someone's like, I'm gonna need to see how that guy is doing.
Yeah,
so, yeah. It was all right. I wanted to ask you on the this or that. I'm assuming you.
I did vote on those. Yeah. Oh yeah, so that was all over that.
Sliders or wings?
Oh, wings.
Wings. I went sliders.
Why?
I do like wings, but just at a Super Bowl party, I want sliders.
No wings.
What else?
Sauce on, hot.
Nachos, pizza.
Nachos.
Really? I'm a pizza. Matzo sticks, sausage rolls.
No, matzo sticks for sure.
Yes, we agreed on that one. Donuts or cupcakes?
Oh, donuts.
Yeah,
donuts forever.
At least we agreed on 2, so that's helpful. But not a bad game. So unfortunately now we just gotta wait 6 months before football. But hey,
have they said where the Super Bowl is next year, or is that
New Orleans?
New Orleans, okay.
Yeah,
Nolans.
I've seen some logo colors where it's green and orange. I've seen some where it's red and green. So I haven't seen a definitive color, so we have no idea what 2 teams are allegedly going to.
So it's the Red Wings against the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly how this goes. As always, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast, which was fun. Little different adventure. May try that a couple more times, and then bring people on as we get going. But it was a little fun adventure. So if you joined me live, thank you. Appreciate that. Game wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but hey, that's what you get. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube. Click the little bell so you're notified, so you don't miss a podcast post game. We get into the quick question. We have 2. We have one voice, and we have kind of a theme on the other one from 2 people that will just audio go. But here is the let's turn this up. Here is the quick question.
Hey guys, I'd like to know which players have shown, either surprising or not, the most growth on the ice and in leadership this year.
Who's that? She got a hot voice.
Yeah, she does.
Holy smoke!
I'm gonna see if she's available.
I'm gonna sweat more than Usher was at the halftime show. If we could keep getting questions from that,
oh my goodness,
lovely woman.
I'm taking my shirt off like Usher.
Holy smokes!
Nobody wants to see that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'll go first. It's fairly obvious. I've been pumping his tires all year. That's number 17. That's Miles Mueller.
Mm-hmm.
He has taken. I was hoping for him to take a step last year. He's taken a massive step this year. So sad we're losing him into next year again. He was one of the players that we weren't quite sure if he was going to be a 20 coming into the season. He played himself into 20. You saw it when he left for the World Juniors both last year and a little bit and this year. A glue guy in that locker room. I think he's just trying to go to his points. I think he's eclipsed his goals from last year and the year before total. But yeah, you saw him, that MCL line. They just they didn't look lost without him, but you could definitely see there's a real connection there. Yeah, he actually eclipsed his goals, his career goals. He had 17 in 2 years. He's got 19 right now. So for me, it's Miles Mueller. I think he's done. It sucks for us that he's leaving for Switzerland, but we're happy for him that he signed his pro contract.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like if you look at what his loss next season, it'll be like a blank space, in that top six, and so you've got to be able to go out there and fill the void.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going a little younger. I'm going with Caleb Desnoyers, just because you can tell this guy, he's got style, right? And they did the video with the mic'd up. He's vocal.
God, that was good.
Yeah, he's vocal.
Keep doing that.
He's vocal. You can tell he's going to be a leader. You can tell he's a future captain of this team.
Yeah.
And despite him only being 16 years old, the record speaks for itself when he's in the lineup. I think he's a difference maker. He makes the team better, and he makes the players around him better. And I think I've seen so much from him that in this 6 months as a Wildcat that I as a leader that I saw from a number 11 a few years ago in Jacob Peltier. It's he's not as Desnoyers might not be as energetic and
personality wise, he's
personality wise
as opposed to Jacob 10.
Like Jacob was at like 16 years old, you can tell that Desnoyers is not that, but he's going to be that.
Yeah.
He's going to be that player that's if there's a player that one thing I've noticed is especially at home games, the opposition team is always up on the bench banging their sticks on the boards for the opening face-off, and the Wildcats are just sitting down on the bench. But what I've noticed is Desnoyers is always one of the ones on his feet, banging. And I think for me, it's what I've seen for him since August and September. It's his leadership is through the roof.
100%. A couple not audio questions, but a couple that were written in. And I'm going to go with the two that went with a theme. Ken Shea, 14 on Instagram. Thoughts on Moran finding his game and being the dominant defenseman that we
You mean kicking?
Huh? That we kind of expected this year. Yeah.
Super Bowl weekend, I think he was going for a field goal on that one.
Yeah. And Ryan asked, why do you guys think Moran is not playing up to his potential this season? And yeah.
So it's kind of two questions about the same player, but
Pretty
polar
much,
opposites.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, with Moran, he had mono over the summer, so you never know. You got to wonder if that's, I think it was last summer.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe that's still lingering. But at the same time, I think we spoke about it a couple weeks ago, where last year he was with Anthony Hamel.
Yeah.
So he could literally be the offensive defenseman, and you would have Hamel as a backup, as that defensive defenseman. But he's been playing with Plandowski recently, has he not? So, and I think I've kind of noticed a different trajectory when it comes to his offensive game recently with Plandowski. I think he's kind of starting to realize, okay, well, Plandowski's got that ability to skate back if need be. And so I don't see anything wrong with how he's playing. I think, if anything, I think Moran's trying to focus more on his defensive side of the game.
Yeah.
And that's taking away from his offensive game. But I also think he's maybe trying to do a little too much defensively, which is then resulting in, the odd turnover here and there. So it's if he's working on his defensive side of the game, because that's what the Calgary Flames told him to do, great.
Yep.
But at the same time, you're here to be an offense defenseman. You're not here to be a defensive defenseman. Yes, work on your being a two-way defenseman, but don't overdo it.
Yeah, and you look at his offensive stats for the month of January, and 2 goals, 10 assists. Like he found his offensive game. I think you're bang on in terms of he doesn't have that defensive defenseman like he had with Hamel last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a pair with Morin and Boutin.
That was the beginning of the season, was it not?
I think so.
Because it was Forte.
Boutin played a lot with Zelensky to start with, or maybe he played with Boutin. But I'd like to see that come back because Boutin, while has the offensive side, he's much more of a defensive defenseman more than Plendowski.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see that pairing just to see if it maybe helps Morin. And again, he had 12 points in the month of January. He hasn't any points in this past 3 games, but I think that is the thing. Like, he came in with so much offensive expectations, and even I put that on him that he was going to be the top scorer on the team was one of my hot takes this season, and I think it's a part the Calgary Flames want to see the defensive side of him. Being another year in the league, last year he got away a lot with that fake shot backup move.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are kind of closing the gap on him and not allowing him to make that move at the blue line. So I think that's part and parcel with it. Maybe a new D partner. Not that there's any problem with Plendowski, but I think if you can put Morin and Boutin together, Plendowski and Zelensky, see how that works for a couple games. Because 8 losses in 10 games, might as well try something new.
Well, I guess I came into the season, expecting him to become the franchise leader in points by defenseman.
Right. Yeah.
In only 3 seasons, based on, I guess you can say, his focus more on the defensive side of the game. It's not going to happen this year. Will it happen? Yeah, for sure, it's going to happen. But it's going to take a heck of a final 15, 16, 17, 18 games to break that record. It's going to be his next season, for sure, barring injury. Let's hope not. But I think last time I checked, he was 30 points behind the record for most points by a Wildcast defenseman in franchise history. So, like I said, he's going to get it. It won't be this year.
Well, there's 17 games left, 2 points a game.
Yeah,
it's not crazy, but
let him wheel.
But,
yeah. Let him cook. Yeah. Let him cook, Daniel.
Yeah, let him go. Let him go. And but again, we did this with Philly too. We gave so much expectation at the start of the year. I think a lot of people kind of expected that, and it's been a bit of a different year for him, and I'm sure he's frustrated as well. And there's a little bit of pressure when you get drafted and you get signed and you become, you're getting info from them as well as there was with Forte Gendron coming into this year, knowing it was your draft year, and he's had a little bit of a tough go this year. So, but again, thanks to that sexy voice for your question earlier on, and then thanks to Ken and Ryan for submitting those questions as well. If you guys don't know, that voice was my wife. All right, let's get to the news.
Shit, really? Oh. Damn.
You just made it. I just didn't want any other female listeners to be like, "Oh, I'm not calling in and having them say that." Oh, that's fantastic. All right, let's get some news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
We have a coaching change in the Western Conference. Randa, what are they? 4th overall in the league. Not playing up to par. They were 5-5 have let go of Martin Dagenet.
Got it, yeah.
Practice.
Martin.
And they brought in Steve Hartley, who was the coach of Drummondville.
A lot easier name.
A lot easier
to
name.
get. Yeah.
Again, he wasn't getting the best out of a stacked roster since the deadline. His vision didn't quite align with the GM. I know I sent something to you about his comments. He didn't want somebody traded, or he wasn't happy with the trades that.
Yeah. So there was. I read some words where I think it was Olivier Dubois was traded from Rouyn-Noranda to Sherbrooke, and he didn't want this kid to be traded. Like, he wanted him to stick around. Must have been a fan of him, and I just basically he had some choice words to say to the GM about that decision. And when you start saying stuff like that about your GM, it's you're kind of on a short string.
Yep, and then you lose 5 out of 10 games. Your string gets a little bit shorter, and
that's karma.
Yeah,
it's
Ren responded with an 11-0 victory over Bathurst. QMJHL has announced overhead cameras into the league. Baie-Comeau was the first last Wednesday against the Wildcats. Hopefully, they're hoping to add more. My other hope on this is we see this angle as fans, and I don't need to see it per se every replay on an offside when there's a discrepancy, but do like the NHL does, where we see some angles, we're kind of not sure the ref or the linesman is able to see his own angle, and then we get to see the overhead angle. And they showed a couple different scenarios, but it's kind of cool. I did chuckle a little bit that Baie-Comeau was the first in one of the older rinks in the league, as opposed to like the Avenir Center, the Slush Puppy Center, like some of these bigger arenas. But it's cool, and I like that because it kind of holds the officials accountable.
I think it was. You're right. Baie-Comeau was a interesting choice.
Yeah.
I also feel it was because it was what had happened in overtime of
What
last
happened
year.
in overtime?
I just don't know. I just don't know what happened in overtime. Interesting game to select to have those cameras going for the first time. You would have thought it was in a newer building, but apparently not.
That's what I thought. They were like rolling them all out at the same time, and then all of a sudden like, we're gonna do it more. I'm like, what? That was the first one? Kind of in your wheelhouse, Tyan Lawrence.
Yes,
projected top 5 pick, has signed a tender to play with the Muskogee Lumberjacks of the USHL. So does this mean he's off teams' draft boards in general, or he's just maybe off that first round because you may not get him? And how real is this for Muskogee on their side of signing this kid to a tender, knowing they could possibly lose him to the QMJHL?
It's ballsy. I'll put it that way, because when you sign a player to a tender, you not only do you give up your first round pick, you also give up your second round pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're basically giving up their first 2 picks of the Phase 1 draft, which I believe is in April, by signing Tyan Lawrence. And I mean, top 5 is easy. Some people are saying top 3. Some are saying the top prospect. So it is a huge blow to the Q, to the Sea Dogs, because of course it's Josh Lawrence's younger brother, and I think the Sea Dogs probably had their eyes set on him with the probable lottery pick that they're going to have. So do I still think the Sea Dogs will take him? Of course they will. Of course they do. Or some team maybe is smart and tries to get him before St. John does. Yeah. It's because Halifax might have a chance, depending on how much they sell off at the trade period and at the draft, I should say. Excuse me. So I'm sure he wants to go to a team that he's familiar with, and that would be St. John and Halifax, because that's where his brother played. But it's
Cape Breton Eagles legend, Josh Lawrence. There you go. So if you put your GM hat on and you're in those meetings and you see that signed, does he fall off your first round? You have a top 10 pick, so like 6 to 10. does he fall off that first round and you see if he's maybe there in the second, or is he just kind of off your board, don't want to risk that pick?
If you're a team who's going to end up with potentially 2 top 5 picks, I would gamble on him as my second top 10.
Right.
Now I kind of put together something here.
Are you mock drafting already? Oh,
no,
just teams.
This was just the draft order that I put together
Yeah.
as of January 13th, so a month ago.
Yeah.
And based on the standings at that point, St. John had 2 picks in the top 7. But their top pick would have been Gatineau's, but I think Gatineau's kind of...
Gatineau's now 15th in the league.
Yeah, they've made a move.
So
right?
Val-d'Or, St. John, Quebec, Gatineau, Charlottetown are your top 5.
Yeah. So you're going to have St. John in that top 5 and potentially twice. You said they're where? Gatineau's where?
Gatineau's 15th overall.
So that's going to be a lottery pick. And
Yeah.
Blainville's
12th. So
they're a little bit up.
they're a little
So
bit off.
yes, again, they're still going to have 2 picks in the top
10.
top
So if
10, top
St.
7.
John, you're not looking top 5. You're maybe looking
Yeah.
in that 6 to 10 range.
But it's pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, he'll play 1 season with Muskegon, and then look at the queue.
Is that what Josh did?
Yeah, because Josh was
He didn't sign
actually
a tender, did he?
no, he was actually committed to Boston College.
Right. Okay.
One of those, it's either BU or BC. I can't remember which one it was, but and then signed with the Sea Dogs. So,
There's a precedent.
yeah, I think we will see him in the queue. I wouldn't, if he plays 1 year in the USHL, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. And then we see him in the queue as like a 17-year-old. It just he's destined to play in this league.
As we said a little bit earlier, Etienne Morin was suspended 1 game for his kicking major on Sunday. He will miss tonight's game against the Eagles. Scholastic Players of the Month. Funny enough, Etienne Morin was named the Wildcats representative for that. Marcus Kiersey was named the QMJHL Player of the Month for the Scholastic. Players of the Week. Charles Boutin of Gatineau, 3 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. Sam Oliver from Drummondville, 3 games, 6 goals, 2 assists. Nikita Prishipov from Victoriaville, 2 goals, 5 assists in 3 games. Vaslav Komarov, 3 games, 1 goal, 5 assists. It's only been 3 years since I've been doing this, and I still don't read it right all the time. Pierre-Olivier Waugh of Victoriaville, 3 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. That was a big week for Victoriaville. Nathan Darvaux, 2-0, .981 save percentage, and a .5 goals against average. And for the second week in a row, if you play Moncton, you are the player of the week. Sam Oliver, 4 goals in the game against Moncton. 6 goals overall, 2 assists in those 3 games. Yeah, wasn't great. And now, speaking of not great, the Weekly Rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
Well, you know by now they go 0-3 on the weekend, bringing the record to 28-16, 3-3 for 62 points on the season. Good enough to hang on to 3rd in the conference and 2nd in the Maritime Division. We are not going game by game because we don't want to. But we're going to look at the road trip as a whole. Yes, they lost all 3 games. 6-3 to Baie-Comeau, 5-2 to Chicoutimi, 8-6 to Drummondville. The biggest positive out of it, so did Cape Breton. They lost their 3 games on the Quebec road trip. So we didn't lose any ground. But we need to find some positives in these games because we can dwell on the negative. And there's a lot of negative out there right now with a couple people that stand behind hockey players. But there had to be some positives on this road trip. The first one I will go with was Keegan Warren against Baie-Comeau. A bit of a surprise start, not in terms of he hasn't earned it, but they had Steinman out at one point, and then Keegan Warren was playing. So I don't know if Steinman, there is something going around where, a bit of a flu bug, as you will. So I don't know if Steinman was feeling fine and then just wasn't as we got closer to the game. But Keegan Warren stepped in. I thought he played well considering that kind of team you're facing. 31 saves on 37 shots. I thought his game was good. That's one of my positives. What do you got?
Oh, you want to talk positives, man? Man, I was getting ready to rip some here, and you have to drop these positives on me. I was all fired up to start.
Maybe a negative and then a positive.
Going here, and it's like, oh fuck! Look at what you made me do. It's a positive.
Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Well, there's, yeah.
I got one.
Yeah, he got one. Yeah. I do want to address the Sean Carrier thing.
Yeah.
Where I guess late in the game against Drummondville, he proved what he can do when he's on the ice. And unfortunately, as a young player, he likes to score goals, and when he scores goals, he likes to celebrate. And I feel bad for the kid because he knew the game was pretty much out of hand and didn't get a chance to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think when he scored that first goal, I think he had a celebration in mind, but then he realized, oh shit, like the game's over. Yeah. Like what? I can't make myself look like a fool here and do a big celly with 20 seconds left or whatever. And in the second goal, with 10 seconds left, he's like, oh, hey man, good job, good job,
exactly.
guys, good job, good job. You just left me hanging.
Sorry, bro. I'm watching the goal. I was trying to see the celebration you're talking about.
He proved what he can do when he gets the ice time he deserves.
He totally looked like he was going to do something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And I have to vouch for him to start playing more, to get the opportunities to play with more offensive players, and I hope the coaching staff sees it as well. Didn't
we have this exact same conversation about somebody last year that's now on the top line?
Did we?
Oh, pretty sure we did.
Right? There's I know there's a few people out there that share the same opinion. That they think this kid deserves more ice time and should be on the ice more and playing with better players.
Yep.
And I think he made a case to earn it. What's going to happen? I don't think it will.
No.
Because your top six is pretty much filled out. And anytime there's opening on the top six, some other player happens to get the spot instead of him. And it's kind of irritating.
And not even like a left winger moves into the right. They just move them up. Like a left winger can play a right wing. Like you can move them back and forth. And that's probably the most frustrating part is you see the sprinkled in positive that he brings and the talent and whatever. Yep. Even having a couple shifts with Loshing and Denway. Things were happening. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you're bang on.
Anyway, but that I should bring it up because it's, yes, when he was on the ice with Loshing and Denway in that game against Bathurst, yes, there was a little bit of bad blood that happened. But who cares?
Yeah.
I might take a little heat for saying this, but at this point, those are, with the exception of Mueller and a couple other guys, Loshing, Carrier, and Denway seem to be the only forwards who actually give a shit right now.
Yeah.
And I think you have to reward the players who are showing that they want to win and that they want to be there. Mm-hmm. It's to the point where, God forbid, I never thought I'd bring up his name, but Darren Rumble. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I was a huge critic of Darren Rumble, but one thing he did, and albeit he did it, he said he was going to do it, but only did it for a couple of games. He held players accountable for their play, and if you didn't play how Darren Rumble wanted you to play one game, you were either down in the lineup or you were in the stands.
Right.
And I think because what you and I have been talking about for a couple of weeks now, that I think a lot of people want to see done, is probably not going to happen if it hasn't been done already.
No.
And if Brent DeBourne says it's not the staff's fault, it's the players' fault, then start holding the players accountable.
He says it's no one's fault.
He says it's no one's fault.
It's somebody's fault.
Yeah. There's something going on where, this is a perfect opportunity. Give me 1 second here. Take me back to December, when everything was fire, right? Everything was clicking. Everything was perfect. We had no complaints. We were this close to Halifax, and now it's like we probably wouldn't even catch them.
No, God, no.
So something happened from the Christmas break to now, which is the same thing that happened last year. Yeah. The same kind of second half collapse that we saw last year. And so if it's the responsibility is not going to be on the coaching staff, then it's got to be on the players, right? So if that's the case, start having the players hold the players accountable. The players need to be responsible for their actions on the ice. And if you're going to be the Wildcat of the week by the team, but yet you're also turning the puck over 2 or 3 times in the same game, resulting in a goal, you need to be held accountable for that. How can you not be going to a bottom pair or sitting a game? Because we have Ryan Hackett, who's fully capable of playing, who has junior A experience. He's not some 16-year-old that's sitting in the stands eating popcorn. He has 3 years of junior A experience, and every time he's been on the ice, I'm not noticing him.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah. There's been a couple of hiccups, but that happens. But when you're one defenseman, 2 defensemen, you're making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. It's either on you or it's on the coaching staff. And the coaching staff's not going to fix it. Because if the coaching staff was going to fix it, it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So you need to maybe start looking at the players, holding them to accountable. Sit them out for a game. Have them watch the game from the stands. People who actually, you'll look at NHLers, and some NHLers will say that they learned a lot from being a scratch and watching a game from the stands. And I think it's time for the same thing. I don't care. At this point, we're probably not going to catch Halifax. But the main thing is to stay above Cape Breton, and for God's sake, stay above Rimouski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We cannot lose home ice. So the team was 21-7, December 28th.
Yeah.
They're 28-16 right now.
What did Dave McKnight say? Winning percentage was like 120,
140, 130,
something like that. Like, where does that rank of all the 18 teams right now? That's
18.
gonna be. It's got to be.
But we've seen this, and people that listen to the show, we've seen this year after year in the coach's tenure. He doesn't hold them accountable. And sometimes you don't have the players. That's fine. But you got 2 extra forwards. You got an extra defenseman. And so when a guy does something well, we've seen it where guys don't play well. They take a bad penalty or they have a turnover, and one guy's out of the lineup due to injury or sickness with what's been kind of going around, and the other guy gets out. The guy that makes the mistake or has the bad penalty or whatever ends up in the top 6 or in moving up, as opposed to the guy that is doing what he can to get on the ice.
Exactly. And that's what I don't understand is how there are players out there that are making, little mistakes, and little mistakes are fixable, right? Those are coachable mistakes. But when you're making glaring errors and horrendous turnovers night in and night out, it's time for you to take a break. You need to calm down. Yeah. And
if you've got it doesn't even have to be the guy in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Put him in the middle of the bench.
Yeah,
dividing the forwards.
See, I don't like that. I don't like.
Sit him in the third period just to watch.
I don't like players riding pine. That's
Wow.
one thing I've never been a fan of. Is if you're going to glue a guy to the bench, I think that's worse than being a scratch.
I know, but we've seen that with the team. He'll limit ice time for certain players in the third period because they made an error in the second. It's like I don't know if that's what his holding them accountable in the game is, as opposed to putting them up in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the ability to try and at some point hold them accountable, and you can't just change the lineup every couple games when it's not working. I said it 3 weeks ago when this started. If he isn't doing it, if it didn't happen last year of 9 of 10, and we're this flipping close to 9 of 10, it ain't happening this year. And it's something that fans are just going to have to get used to, that it's probably not going to happen this year.
Mm-hmm.
You see Randa 5-5, and they let the guy go. Now, he made comments about the trades that were made, and
third overall in the league.
Dan wouldn't do that, but
gone.
You see that, and as a Wildcat fan, you're like, are you kidding me right now? Like, that team moved on, and it's the same mistakes. It's D-zone. It's starting on time. It's can't get a lead. It's giving up a few goals. They're 2-4, or 1-16 or something like that when trailing after this team can't come back. It's like, oh, we're down. We shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's no in-game adjustments. There hasn't been in-game adjustments.
There's no preparation. There's no in-game adjustment. And
they've got a game tonight against Cape Breton, who, thank God, lost some games, because had they won on the road trip, this would be a battle for second place. They can't lose. Like, you can't lose this game. You can't. It's just impossible to lose this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you come home after that trip and you've got Gatineau, Halifax, back to back.
Yep.
That will pretty much not put a nail in the season, but that'll be very tough to come by, because Rimouski is at 59 and Cape Breton's at 56. So you lose a couple of those hockey games. It's just something, and I said it on a few of the lives, and I've said it here a couple times. Something has to give, and I tried to be positive. I really did. Mm-hmm. I really tried to be positive about that road trip, but that game against Chicoutimi was just to be on TikTok live. Thankfully, not a lot of our fans were there. Like, I wasn't on Instagram that was full of them. There was a few here and there, but that was so tough to be positive and upbeat and this and that. I mean, I give them credit. They were leading, I think, against Baie-Comeau. They tied Baie-Comeau. They were leading against Drummondville.
We're not denying the effort.
There's effort, like you're saying, and there's parts of the games that are good. It's just they can't put the full game together. They can't start on time. They play great in the middle, or they can't start for the first half, and then they just kind of like explode. I'm at the point where when I watch a game and we get down like 1-0 early on, I'm like, we'll come back.
Yeah,
they just haven't started yet, and that's not what I want to do.
That's not our issue.
No,
like, I thought our compete in some of these games was really good.
Yeah,
I think we could have. I think we could have beat Baie-Comeau. I think we could have beaten Drummondville, and for God's sakes, we should have beaten Chicoutimi.
Yeah, that's why I picked that one.
So it's a matter of the Lady Mo, it's the momentum and being able to control the momentum. And when you give up, bad goal, it seems like now that when they give up a bad goal, or if there's a goal that's given up that shouldn't be given up, it just sinks them.
Drummondville is the perfect example.
Yeah, and that didn't happen in the first half. In the first half, if they give a bad goal, they were out there next shift, probably tying up the game, or getting that next one.
Yeah, Drummondville, they were up 4-2,
mm-hmm.
4-3, and Woodworth scored at 13:08. Oliver at 13:36, so 2 goals in 40 seconds.
Yeah, just sinks.
And then 18:02, 18:34, 18:45.
Like that Drummondville game.
2 empty net goal. I've never seen a team get scored on empty net so many times.
Well, it's Steinman and Mercer gave up the same amount of goals that game. You still lose.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's those are the
You
things
score
that
6 on Dawson Mercer, you should come away with the victory.
Yeah.
We
Riley Mercer.
That's
okay.
When he says they gave up the same amount of goals, we're not putting this on Steinman and or Warren.
Albeit there were a couple of goals that Steinman should have had.
Right. But
Like that one where they
through the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one he should have had.
But when you're facing 45 shots a night and 30 of them are from dangerous opportunities, those are bound to happen.
Yep.
Because there's no defense. There's no defensive zone coverage. There's not. And again, maybe you got to shake up the D lines where you put all your horses in Moran and Boutin and AFG and Plendowski, or Zielinski and Plendowski in the second unit, and AFG and Hackett or whatever. You've got to move them around. Try something. You've tried forward pairs, but the defense pairs have always stuck together. And this team went from contenders to pretenders. Just like that. And
Jeez, why do you have to be so mean?
well, look at do you feel confident in round 1 series? The way they're going right now?
It depends on who you play. I mean,
On the big ice against
I'm not
Chicoutimi?
giving up. I'm not giving
I'm not
up
giving
on the
up
team.
it. I'm just saying.
Look,
We said third round was kind of the expectation. Do you feel this team can get out of round 1? Because you got Chicoutimi on the big ice.
Against
That's a
Chicoutimi,
2-3-2.
yes.
That's 2-3-2. Chicoutimi has to steal 1 game here.
Against Chicoutimi, yes.
It's Bathurst?
Comes back to what I said last week. If you can't find a way to control one line and then go check for check against their second, third, and fourth line, you don't deserve to win a series against Bathurst.
Especially at home when you can put your top line out against their third and fourth line.
Yeah.
Which will happen more in the playoffs than it does the regular season. But that was a theme in Baie-Comeau. That number 1 line of Gill, Poirier, and Doucette.
That was it.
That crushed us.
That was it.
Sam Oliver, Woodworth,
That was it.
Gaudette crushed us.
That's what I don't like. It's the containing of one line, and that seems to be what hurts them every game. They can't control that one dominating line. And the one in Baie-Comeau, hell, they're 3 of probably the top
6 players in the league, 5 players.
6,
in the league.
10, 10 players in the league.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that part. But for God's sakes, if you can't control, okay, I understand he's 6'6", but Milo Rollins and Bobby Orr, and I can't think of who plays the right wing on that line. Alexander Lallier, I think his name is.
I think so, yeah. Or St. Ange, one of the two.
Yeah. Come on. Like, you don't deserve to be in the second round if you can't control Bathurst.
Yeah.
And that's...
And I'm not asking that question because I'm giving up on them. The way they're playing right now, from the expectation we had about a month ago, worries me. And you're right, depending who we play, Rimouski, Cape Breton, Chicoutimi, Bathurst, one of those teams, it's going to be a ride. It's going to be a ride to end of the season. And you know what? We could come out here in 3 weeks and we've won 8 of 10 and everything's glorious and we're on our way to the finals. That's how this season goes. It'll be just like last year.
The roller coaster.
Yep, absolutely. Are you ready for everyone's favorite part of the show?
We're not going to preview the games?
Oh, we can, I guess.
No, I'm just kidding. Get me the hell out of here.
We kind of did. Lost 8 of 10. Eagles game is massive. 3 out of 4 at home. Family Day weekend against Halifax. Talk about containing. Well, not even one line. That's a unit. That'll be the one they come up against, like that they get up for. Is that one where they've had some success on the road to Halifax?
Yeah,
but
I
the way
guess
they're going right now, it's.
We'll see.
We will see. All right. Favorite part of the show.
Eric Murray, Realtor. Buy our house from him. Stick Tap of the Week.
Okay. So this Sunday, obviously, this weekend is a long weekend.
Yes.
And this Sunday, Avenir Center, from 9 to 12, there is an event called Skate for Tate. Oh, that music seemed to hit perfectly. Yeah, so I know I kind of brought it up on the show there last month. This will be a skate in honor of Tate Hughes, the 5-year-old boy who we lost, unfortunately, a month or two ago. It's at the Avenir Center on Sunday from 9 a.m. to noon. It's a donation event. They'll be taking donations at the door. Proceeds will be going to Open Ice for Kids, which basically gives unfortunate, kids an opportunity to experience hockey. There'll be a silent auction, 50-50 draw, T-shirts, snacks, hot chocolate, and of course a special guest, Wild Willard, will be there.
Wild Willard.
Which, if the Wildcats don't start playing any more Wild, his name will just be Willard. So it's it's being put on by a bunch of sponsors around town, and of course it's at the Avenir Center. Don't forget your helmets, because you'll need to wear your helmets. And yeah, it's just a way to it's kids who can't afford to play hockey will be able to potentially play hockey with all the donations and money raised from this event. So that's this Sunday at the Avenir Center from 9 until 12. Donations only.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the Remax Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
That brings us to the Wildcast Wildcat of the Week, presented by Rosemary Lynn Massage and Spa. Right now, when you book a pedicure, regular or shellac, you get a free manicure as well. Don't forget, they've got the loyalty card. When you book 9 spa services, you get one free. Take advantage of this by calling 506-830-1224 or book with them in person at 1224 Mountain Road. I'm going to go with a defenseman. Not the defenseman the Wildcats picked.
Another defenseman? How did you not?
I know. He had 3 points on the trip. As well, he's kind of stepped up for the power play when Moran was given the kicking major, and he started to emerge as a power play quarterback, which a lot of people said he would be the number 2 power play quarterback. He started to emerge there, and sometimes on that power play 1 when called upon. So your Wildcat of the Week is number 21, Nathan Grenier. That'll do it for the show this week. Again, it is Family Day weekend, so the Wildcats are at home Friday and Monday for Family Day. Hopefully with some W's in their pockets out of Cape Breton. Again, they got that game tonight. So one of the giveaways that we're doing before we get out of here, I just remembered, we are giving a night out on the Wildcast podcast. So starting this tonight for 2 weeks, we're going to do a like and share post.
Can't even afford to take my own wife out.
Now what you can win, you'll win 2 tickets to the game again February 29th against Baie-Comeau, as well as a $50 food voucher from our friends at Kelsey's. So you share the post. You got to follow us. You got to follow them.
Dobson's all over this one.
Yeah, he's chicken fingers.
Yeah.
And you'll win 2 tickets to the game against Baie-Comeau, as well as a $50 food voucher. We're going to have one more in the month of March. I haven't decided which game to go on. But again, big thanks to Kelsey's for jumping on that. So if you're listening to this in the morning and you don't have plans, they also have a 2 can dine for $55 on Valentine's Day to take your sweet lady out. Enjoy Valentine's Day, sir.
Sweet lady?
Yeah.
Hey.
Take your sweet significant other out.
Thank you.
For a wonderful dinner.
Your partner.
Your partner. Absolutely. You enjoy Valentine's Day, sir.
You too. I love you.
I love you too.
Aw.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.